Well, Jayden Daniels did not practice on Wednesday as he continues to rehab a knee sprain. Head coach Dan Quinn says that Friday would be the earliest that Daniels would return to practice. Last year's Offensive Rookie of the Year suffered the injury in the fourth quarter of last week's loss to the Packers. Washington hosts the Raiders on Sunday. But the Commanders took a similar approach with Daniels last season ahead of their matchup with the Bears. If you remember, Daniels didn't practice until Friday that week because of a rib injury. Ended up starting, and we all remember how it finished. A walk-off Hail Mary as time expired. If Daniels can't play this Sunday, though, it will be the first missed game of his career. And we're now joined by CBS Sports NFL analyst Emory Hunt as Commanders looking to get back in the win column. And I mean, it certainly helps when you do have your starting quarterback available. But just considering coming up, this is a interconference matchup on Sunday against the Raiders. And Daniels might have just one practice under his belt for the week. Do you think Washington should handle him with a little more caution than they did maybe when they were in a similar spot last year, Emory?
I think so, Kiana. And you think about the opponent that they're facing. They're facing the Raiders. So you have Max Crosby on the other side. That's someone that's going to go strictly and try to attack Jayden Daniels, knowing that he's gimpy on one leg. And for a knee injury like this, it's really all about comfort. If it's not a tear or anything like that, it's a sprain. It's about how comfortable you feel to move. And because his game is predicated on him going east and west and showcasing that agility, it could be uncomfortable out there for him to be out there as a Jayden Daniels type player. So we may see him sit. And if so, Marcus Mariota can hold the fort down for at least a week. We saw him play well last year when he got the opportunity. And what they really need to focus on this week, because Daniels is not out there, is trying to get better at running the football. That's been the big bugaboo the first two games of the season. If they can't run the football, doesn't matter if it's Jayden Daniels or Marcus Mariota or Doug Williams, whoever's out there, it won't matter. They will not have success offensively.
I think you said the perfect answer right at the very beginning. Max Crosby, enough said. You want to make sure that you have your signal caller healthy because he is coming at you. But, Emory, it's a little bit of a similar story out in the Bay Area. 49ers signal caller Brock Purdy was a limited participant on practice on Wednesday after missing week 2 with that shoulder and toe injury. Mac Jones, though, coming off that 3-touchdown performance in the Niners win over the Saints, just helping keep this team afloat. But we just look at what just transpired with Joe Burrow. He's undergoing surgery for his toe injury. You don't want Purdy to make it worse in any type of factor. But how do you think the 49ers should handle this divisional matchup they've got coming up against the 2-0 Cardinals?
Well, listen, if Mac Jones went out there and laid an egg versus the New Orleans Saints, then you'd say, okay, you kind of got to go with Brock Purdy because of the opponent, like you mentioned. But because he went out there and played well, kept the offense afloat, you saw the balance. The run game was popping a little bit. They had some timely plays in the passing game. He didn't turn the ball over. He wasn't a liability out there. So you have the luxury of stashing Brock Purdy for another week, because we know the Cardinals will find a way to cardinal up a game or two, just like they almost did that last weekend against the Carolina Panthers, where the Panthers came storming back, recovered an onside kick, the first onside kick recovered in the NFL since 1865. Like, I had never seen an onside kick recover in so long, and the Cardinals nearly gave that game away. So if you're San Francisco, you invested all this money in Brock Purdy, you have all this money invested in other key players on offense, don't rush to get him back out there. I think Mac Jones can handle the Arizona Cardinals. Even if you lose this ball game, it's still, don't sacrifice this one game, the rest of the season, for this one game. So I would, play with caution when you're dealing with Brock Purdy, because he's so important to what they do offensively.
Err on the side of caution with your starting quarterback, because after this game against the Cardinals, whatever way it does go, you have the Jags. But then you have a big one, week 5, visiting the Los Angeles Rams. We know that one's certainly circled on the calendar. But Emory, speaking of returns, Chiefs wideout Xavier Worthy was back in practice Wednesday as a limited participant after suffering his dislocated shoulder mere snaps into the season opener. In fact, Kansas City is optimistic he'll be able to return ahead of their Sunday night showdown against the Giants. So, Emory, is his return the boost that the Chiefs need to maybe get out of this slow start they've got going on, or are you pointing to other problems?
If Xavier Worthy is playing running back, sure, this is great for them, because that's the problem with Kansas City. They really can't run the football, and it takes away their ability to, have that threat to where now you have to worry about the run game, then they go deep down the field. Yes, he's a valuable piece because he's the explosive talent. He also aids the run game a little bit in how they utilize him and getting him involved in those end arounds or jet sweeps. But if he's not going to be back there in the backfield as a true tailback, then this doesn't really matter. This doesn't make a difference for their offense. They have to find a way to control the pace of a ball game, control the tempo, and that starts with their run game. Back when they were averaging 35, 40 points a game, they had the threat of the run. The run game was really what kind of gave them that balance that people worried about, that allowed the pass game to really open up and take the top off the defense. So I like Worthy. I like his fit in this offense. I like his role. But their run game, just like Washington we talked about, is more of an issue than anything else.
Nice to have your receiver back, but still maybe some other question marks they need to figure out there in Kansas City. But meanwhile, Emory in Minnesota, it'll be Carson Wentz under center for the injured J.J. McCarthy. McCarthy suffered that high ankle sprain in Sunday night's loss to the Falcons and is expected to miss multiple weeks. Carson Wentz, who Minnesota signed less than a month ago, will get the start under center as the Vikings get set to host the 2-0 Joe Burrow-less Bengals. Here's head coach Kevin O'Connell on Wentz's readiness for Sunday's start.
I was, telling the team today, you've got a guy that's played at a really high level, played a lot of football, and ultimately is at a place in his career where I think you can really tap into a lot of that while also shaping a game plan that he's comfortable with and he can go out and have consistent success, because that's, really what our whole team needs right now is just in all three phases. Can we do the things, schematically that we need to do? And there's going to be, some adjustments made to fit with the personnel and what we think is best to win this game this week.
So we get to watch the battle of the backups on Sunday. Carson Wentz in line to start for his sixth different organization in 6 straight seasons. But when we look big picture, I'm not sure the last time he's had this type of supporting cast, what he's got there in Minnesota. So I want to get your expectations for Wentz in his first start for the Vikings.
I expect him to play well. And what Wentz brings to the table that will be introduced to this Vikings offense is consistency in the intermediate game. One route he throws really well is those 12 to 15-yard dig routes, those in routes. So he can drive the football, has good velocity on those passes. Now, he doesn't have the best deep ball. His passes tend to hang in the air when they go deeper down the field. But if you can get that in route going with Justin Jefferson and get him catching and running with the football, that's always a great thing. And then that maybe opens up a little bit of the run game. That's another area. It's funny, the common theme with the 3 teams we've talked about so far has been their inability to run the football. And this is another issue for Minnesota. They ran the ball well against Chicago. That's how they got back in that ball game, but they have struggled since then to run the ball consistently. But Wentz opens up a little bit more in the passing game. He's experienced, like Coach O'Connell talked about, and if he's able to just do his 111, this Vikings team and this defense should be able to keep this one very close with an outside chance to really pull it off.
And then one other thing that Wentz has got for him, he actually grew up rooting for the Vikings, he said. So he's excited about this game. He talked about running out of the tunnel and what that experience is going to be like. So, maybe just a little bit more juice and something to prove as a backup. As always, Emory, we appreciate you with the insight. Thank you. Well, Carson Wentz returning under center Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern on CBS. And the Vikings host the Bengals. Hey, the Chargers looking to open up the season 3-0 for the first time since the 2002 season. I'm talking like that Britney Spears, Backstreet Boys era. Yeah, and they want to build on their lead in the AFC West with a divisional showdown with that high-powered Broncos defense. That's at 4:05 Eastern. Week 3 shaping up to be a good one, and you can catch all the action over on CBS or streaming on Paramount+.